Welcome to Beyond Sunday, where we have a cup of coffee, a conversation, and cultivate our relationships with one another in Christ. Beyond Sunday is a podcast ministry of Kindred Church, broadcasting to you from beautiful Orange County, California. And now, here's your host, Tom Grossi.
Well, thank you for joining us for another week of Beyond Sunday, where we have a cup of coffee and a conversation. And it's a joy to be able to have my guest for this week, Lauren Venter. This has been a series of podcasts, and we hope that you've enjoyed them. I've learned something new from every guest that we've had on our program, and it's exciting to launch into another episode. My name is Tom Grossi. I'm the Minister of Music here at Kindred and the host for our podcast of Beyond Sunday. And it's my joy to welcome Lauren, a member of our worship team and a member of our church, for our interview today. And when I think of Lauren, I think of a great quote by Margaret Thatcher. Lauren, as you're going to find out in her life, she's a very industrious and busy young woman. And I think of Margaret Thatcher in this quote when I think of Lauren. Margaret Thatcher says, "Look at a day when you are supremely satisfied at the end. It's not a day when you lounge around and do nothing, but it's when you had everything to do and you've done it." And I think of Lauren when I think of that quote. So let's welcome Lauren to our podcast. Lauren, it's a joy to have you with us.
Thank you.
Lauren, we've been having a great time talking with a lot of different guests and just kind of bouncing around with questions and getting to know people. And we were just talking before the taping that, a lot of people see us in the worship team and they kind of see us from afar. They see us on the platform, but they, aside from quick conversations maybe in the foyer or heading back and forth to the bathroom, not too many people maybe know a lot about some of the people that are on the platform leading them in worship. And even though you've been at the church a long time, longer than me, this is just sort of an opportunity that I thought of to say, let's get to know these people a little bit more personally and get to know a little bit about their life, their occupation, how they started playing their instrument, because you're a wonderful singer, you're a phenomenal violinist, and you come from a family of great musicians as well, and we love the Myers family. We know you just got married recently. There's a lot going. There's a lot here that we can unpack. So pick any of those and start us off.
Okay, well, first of all, I am an accountant for a living. So a lot of people, especially in college, thought that if I was in the music department, that I was solely in the music department. But I was highly involved. I played in orchestra in college, and I was like first violin, pushing my limits as much as possible to keep my abilities up so I could use it at church. But then, on the other hand, when I was in the business department, everyone thought I was just business and just doing accounting. So I was very busy, both worlds. I crunch a lot of numbers. I analyze a lot. So basically my job is to take financials and analyze them, look at trends, see where they're off, recommend corrections, make corrections, do journal entries. Yeah, so just lots of numbers on my day-to-day, and then
lots of graphs, lots of spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Lots of Excel. Yeah. Lots of business systems, and then I get to come on a Sunday morning and use my music, and it's my outlet.
It's so rare that someone like you has sort of developed both sides of their brain. I envy that. I really do, because you can go to work and you're very accomplished at work, and yet come to church and are equally as accomplished, and that's amazing. How do you do that? You need to teach me how you do that. Maybe I just don't have the brain capacity for it, but you do it so well. That's amazing. So tell us a little bit. A lot of people may not know that your maiden name, of course, is Myers. So that is a dear family. Your mom and dad, Dave and Darlene, are dear people in the life of our church, and your sister Kelsey and Carter. So tell us a little bit about family and all that.
Yeah. So first of all, my husband Giannis, as of October 18th. So we got married in the pandemic. We met in 2018, and we met online. So I had downloaded.
Really?
Yeah, I had downloaded an app, and just originally to kind of laugh. I was in Texas.
Test the waters. Yeah.
I was in Texas at a best friend's wedding.
Wow.
And it's an app that's based off of your location. So all the guys were from Texas with their hunting and their kill and all their camo. It was just hilarious. So I got this specific app just to have some laughs in the downtime. Never did I think that I would use it to meet somebody.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
But Giannis isn't from Texas, is he?
he is actually,
Oh.
but I did not find him. It's locational. I found him in California. So he's originally from
darned.
South Africa.
Right.
So yeah, that's the unique thing. He grew up in South Africa until he was 9, and then moved to Canada for a year. And then from Canada moved to Texas, and that's where he spent most of his time, and has been in California a few years.
And he's bilingual.
Yes, he speaks Afrikaans, but we don't speak it in our home,
Right.
but his parents
Right.
use it with him. So they kind of go back and forth between Afrikaans and English when I'm there, and yeah.
Wow.
So I've
Did
gotten
they
exposed.
all immigrate when he was 9 years old? The whole family? Everybody came
Well,
to
not
Canada?
the extended family, just the immediate family.
Wow.
So his parents and him and his sister.
Did work, military? What kind of drew?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
South Africa is not the safest place or the place with most opportunity out there. So because his mom really recognized that, she kind of pushed it, and they moved the entire family to get
Wow.
better opportunity for specifically Giannis and his sister Esmery. So
It's amazing.
yeah,
Well, this probably, at least we know and can probably guarantee that the Beyond Sunday podcast we're now going international, folks. We're going international because they're probably going to watch in South Africa.
yeah.
So that's
But
awesome.
we love our South Africans.
Yeah.
I love my South African.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know that you guys met on an app. And so he was in Texas, but he's in California. You meet. You see the guys with the camouflage and the elk and deer racks, which that's kind of funny because that's not Giannis. That's not Giannis.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
He dresses
He's
very well.
super
and-
cool, super
yeah.
hip, like, stylish head to toe. So.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Never did I think I would meet a husband that way.
Wow.
But it was God's providence, and we had lots of laughs.
Wow.
about it.
So you guys
Yeah.
started dating
In
fairly soon
2018,
after?
and
Mhm.
then we met. We went on our first date rock climbing on Black Friday, and then
Wow.
about a month later we were official, and 2 years later got married.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Now, tell mom and dad, of course, Dave and Darlene,
Yes.
and your sister.
Kelsey,
Yeah.
and we have an announcement. Kelsey is now pregnant with her first and is due Christmas week.
Super
So,
exciting.
yeah,
A
we're so
coronial
excited. Yeah.
in our midst. No, and Kelsey and Carter, if you're watching, we love you guys, miss you, and super excited for you. So grateful, and know that this family will expand, and the joy that will be in your home will be awesome. And you're going to have an awesome auntie here. She told me on Sunday, and that's super exciting. And then I told Lauren that Della and our oldest daughter, Dana, is expecting. And so we're going to be grandparents, which is crazy. And then Danielle is going to be an aunt. So we're expecting a little boy. They just revealed it's a little boy just about a month ago. And we're super excited. So it's amazing how God does that in our families.
Yeah.
So, well, Lauren, tell us a little bit. I mean, I can't tell you, and I've told you this off camera and off the record and on camera and on the record. I can't tell you how many people have asked me, says, who's that redheaded woman who plays a beautiful violin, has got this beautiful smile when she sings and all that? That's Lauren Myers, now inventor. And I said, what? Tell me about her or all of that. And so I think it would be interesting for people to know, especially those that are in the music ministry, how you started. Did you kind of start on piano? Did you just jump right to stringed instruments? Were you always violin? A couple episodes ago, we had Evan, who plays cello, and he had kind of an interesting story of getting to cello. I'm just kind of curious, I think others are too, is how kind of music journey started for you.
Yeah. So I was 7 when I started playing, and
Playing
I jumped
violin? At 7?
straight into violin. Yeah.
Wow.
My mom taught me for a couple years. That was hit or miss lessons wise.
And your mom's
So-
a fantastic violinist,
Yeah.
and so, wow.
Yeah, so
Right.
I originally
Yeah.
kind of wanted to start because my sister also was playing at that point. And so it was kind of competition, I think, as well. Even that young.
Nothing
like,
wrong
I'm a
with
very
that.
competitive person, so
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Kelsey can do that. I can do that as well. And I like the instrument too, hearing my mom play, and it's actually passed down from my Nana, my grandma.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll all play for events occasionally.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think for Kelsey's wedding, when Kelsey was walking down the aisle, my Nana, Mom, and I
3 generations
played. Yeah, so
How cool is that?
it's pretty cool. And then we've done weddings and stuff. It's a lot of fun. But I went straight into violin, and then I've been in, because of violin, we have an ear to hear parts and hear when we're in tune, out of tune, all of that. So singing came a little easier. I had a very airy voice when I started, and I took voice lessons starting in high school to kind of work on that. I'm really thankful for my voice teacher, Rita. I really enjoyed that, but I definitely consider myself more of a violinist, and I'd consider Kelsey. She has more of a gravitational pull to singing, and so she was in this really high up singing group at Masters, like one of the highest audition based singing groups. So, and then I was in orchestra and high up there, so
Wow.
we kind of both went different directions, but we
Yeah.
started in the same place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So another Masters University grad, and I know you make them proud. I know you make Paul Palou proud, and many who have been in the ministry and in the school there for many years. We have obviously a pretty strong connection with Masters with a lot of our students, and of course with Pastor Phillips' involvement and connection there, both at Grace as well as at Masters. So. And my son graduated from Masters. He got his business degree at Fullerton Junior College, and then he finished out his 2 years at Masters and loved it. So I know that Tyler will be watching too, and he always cheers on Masters alums. So that's super cool. Hey, tell us, and I know because Giannis is such a cool guy, that you guys have to do some things for fun. So even though you're extremely busy, you're working as in your job and very capable there. You're a phenomenal musician, and you so graciously serve so often with us at Kindred. Do you even have time to have a hobby? And it is, so what is it, some things that maybe you like to do, and then maybe let us in if there's something that you found that you and Giannis like to do together. Because sometimes when you get married, you kind of bring your own hobbies and your own kind of, I like to do this and I like to do that. I like to chill and read the books or whatever. And then you find something that you both love to do, and then then it's like a lot of fun, because then you can enjoy something together when you're both trying to relax. So tell us about kind of something that maybe we wouldn't know about Lauren, about that you like to do for fun.
Yeah. So just in January, we got a puppy. So we have a golden doodle puppy. Her name's Ginger. So there's 3 of us Gingers in the family. And so what we've been doing recently, new hobby is hiking. We'll hike every Saturday. And then we'll take her for walks daily, just getting out in the outdoors.
Where do you hike around here?
Various spots. There's
Really?
so many great places.
Yeah.
Irvine has a lot of good hiking spots. Orange has some nice ones in the hills. Just all around. We try to keep it semi-close to my parents so they can join us too. But
And the dog.
Yeah, and the dog. But dating, we were dating and engaged and kind of pre-COVID, before things closed down. That's the hard part, things closing down.
Yeah.
We went to a lot of gardens and lots of botanic gardens, just looking at all the beautiful
My
plants.
wife loves to do that.
Yeah. And then also I'm married to a birder. So
Oh, really?
He loves birds. He knows all the birds, all the calls.
Really?
Yeah. So
he does bird watching.
yeah,
type
so
deal.
I'll go with him to reserves.
Now, to a reserve, right? And then, wow, when we lived in Nashville for about 8-9 years, what we did love is and it was kind of my first time in live and in color to actually see an entire tree full of red cardinals. It was absolutely beautiful. We don't see red cardinals generally out here in sunny Southern California, but I remember that first winter. And I kind of enjoyed it, probably not nearly like Giannis, because I'm sure he's studied it and knows it well. But I kind of enjoyed that too. It was relaxing, and that first winter to see a whole tree full of just nothing but snow and red cardinals in it is really beautiful.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, it was. It was really neat to see. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
It's a blast. Yeah, I never was into birds, didn't look, around for birds.
So is he serious, like with the binoculars and the whole deal?
Yeah. I mean, not everywhere we go,
right.
But if he'll hear a call that he's either familiar with or not familiar with, he'll look around, stop and look around, and then identify the bird. Yeah.
Wow.
And if he can't identify it, he's looking it up and seeing what it is. And there's some rare ones we've seen, and it's fun. I've never really
That's fun.
been interested in that until Giannis came around. So
that's remarkable. That's neat. Yeah, that's part of the fun of doing something like this is because you'd have never known that, right? If we hadn't been talking with Lauren here, and so it's neat to hear of those kind of fun and nuanced things that we learn about each other. Lauren, sort of maybe pivot back to your playing and your music and your talent. A lot of people that I think have been watching, at least the feedback that we've been getting, a lot of them are musicians in our church, but as well as family and friends, and even musicians from other church, especially when we were kind of in broadcast mode. There was a lot of churches who mostly their entire church somewhat shut down, and they didn't have an ability or to worship in the church that they were at, or the broadcasting that was happening wasn't something that was really feeding them like we hoped to do at Kindred, and received so much positive feedback of what we tried to do during that time broadcasting, which is a very crucial time for your age group, if you will, and younger, that it's a generation that can really isolate a lot. And then when you take a pandemic and throw it on top of that, it makes it even more isolated. Yeah. And I know you have a soft spot in your heart for that because you're very relational. And maybe just give us some thoughts or some advice on it could be either musical, speak to someone who's your age or even younger than you that looks up to you in both the music gifts that you have. What is maybe some advice that you can give and how you use your gifts, whether it's playing the violin or singing, or even in the professional life that you do? And then I got one more question after that, or a couple more maybe after that. So.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So if you're even remotely thinking about serving in worship and you have a gift you've been working on, either singing or an instrument you've played and you're kind of a closet musician out there, just go for it. Be bold, don't be afraid. Yeah, it's so rewarding. You're there to bring others to worship and to encourage, but in the process, it's so encouraging to be involved and to be on the other side of everyone else singing in the congregation and to just hear their praises all going to God. And it's just, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, it's great counsel, Lauren. It's great counsel, and I agree with you. I kind of shared in a previous episode that sometimes leading in worship, I don't know if this is a great analogy, but sometimes it's both driving a car and directing traffic at the same time. It's like on one hand you have to lead, but on the other hand you're trying to point as well, and sort of manage the stage of stuff. Downbeats that people need to see, directions that they need to go, this and that. But all of that can serve as a distraction to the real goal, and that's the heart of worship, and really engaging and having that touch our hearts, because I think when that does, then that leads the congregation in worship very effectively. And you model that. You really do. You both in your countenance and in the excellence that you bring. We've had on several, of course, musicians on the podcast, and I'm always struck by each person, and you are surely no exception, that the skill that you bring and the excellence that you bring is a huge blessing to me, because you possess both. You don't just have a great heart, but you have this great competency and this great skill that kind of combines with that. And you work really hard at that, or in years past you have, and you still do, and you still grow and learn, and gosh, as a minister of music, you're like, that's the dream, is to have someone who has both of those things, and you, for sure, your whole family does. Kelsey, of course, does, and your mom, of course, does, and Dave in serving on our deacons. So we're just grateful for your entire family. Now, I started with that Margaret Thatcher quote because you are a busy lady, and there's a lot of busy people. There's a lot of people that are handling all of this. You guys also got a house in this last year, right?
Yeah,
so that was a big deal.
We've had quite a few big life changes.
Like major chapters.
Yeah, we bought a house. Giannis also got in a big wreck where it was a hit and run, and so we had to get a new car.
Wow.
Yeah, my job transitioned a month before marriage. Well, my position was dissolved in June of last year during the pandemic, and then in September I started a new job a month before marriage. And that actually
change your job, change your name.
It's been a
Goodness.
big blessing because I've been solely remote.
Wow.
So being in this newlywed period and adjusting to everything that entails, it's been so nice to be home.
So you're still home?
I'm home, yeah.
Home, like 100% home? Wow.
Starting when the reopening happens, which this is going to be past that time when I say it. But starting June 15th, I'll be there 2 days a week. But
wow.
Still, it's been so nice. It's been refreshing. And I have a little more time than I normally would to spend time with Giannis and get out and exercise.
Yeah. It's a perfect segue, Lauren, to what was going to be one of my questions. And that is, you're a professional young woman, you're newly married, just bought a house, have a dog, husband, change your name, change your job. I mean, there's a lot going on there. Bought the house. How do you sort of strike that balance? Because I think that there probably is a temptation, especially in sort of today's society, that you got to line all these things up and get all these knocked down and do them absolutely perfect, and you could stress yourself out. Mm-hmm. And you strike me as a person that's very professional, that's very focused, but yet you take this is my take of Lauren. You take what you do seriously, but you don't take yourself that seriously. You seem balanced. You seem like you have it together, and that's kind of a pressure because everybody's clawing at you at work and all of that, and now you're a newlywed, and now you're a pet owner, and now you're a homeowner, and now you got all these. How do you kind of balance that, and then maybe bouncing off of that when things do kind of start to get quote back to normal again? How will you try to keep that balance when you're working massive hours each week and you still have your own life and your own goals with you and your husband? How is it that you kind of strike that balance? Or what is it that you want prayer for of how that could help you?
Yeah, so it's hard to balance it all. I have my schedule, and sticking to a routine and a schedule is really important. Again, not having to commute, being home has given me a lot more time. But we pretty much have a routine down of what we do, and
you got your favorite restaurants.
Well, I actually mostly cook. That's
Awesome.
Actually one of my hobbies. I hadn't been doing before we got married as much, and then
Awesome.
back to cooking. So I kind of that was a struggle at first, getting down the right recipes and the timing of that.
Yeah.
Because he works earlier and gets home before I finish work. So it's been
Any favorite dishes of Giannis and you? Any favorite things that you like to cook?
Well, I like my chicken chili verde.
Nice.
But lately, the one he's been liking, it's just a homemade pasta sauce with fresh tomatoes and lots of spices and garlic. And we've been using ground turkey because it's a little healthier too, and it's really good. I'm happy with our current recipes, but yeah.
My wife's an awesome cook, and I grew up in an Italian family, so we cooked a lot, and so we both actually enjoy it. But now with just one at home, with our daughter Danielle at home, and she's kind of out a lot of nights, we haven't done as much cooking as we'd like to, but that's no excuse. We still probably should cook maybe more than we do, but it is relaxing. There was another guest that we had on podcast here actually that said that they love to do that as well too, and that's a good skill, because folks, it'll save you some money if you can learn to cook. It'll save you some money. You'd probably rather take a vacation than all of those trips out to eat, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, our budget, we don't have to budget that much for food because
wow,
we eat in.
Yeah. Noelle, it's been a joy to have you, Lauren, on the podcast. And when I was kind of putting the list together, I wanted to put a list together of some people that I thought would be fun to talk to, for one, and obviously you are, but also that would have an interesting story, and obviously with how you and Giannis met, and Giannis born and raised until childhood in South Africa, all of these things, your love of cooking and Giannis's love of bird watching, all of those things I think are fun for people to know, and it sort of broadens their appreciation of you and your entire family. And so it's an honor to be able to serve with you and to enjoy being with you. So thanks for this opportunity to do so. I do have another question, and that's about these cool coffee mugs here.
They're so cool.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite coffee or tea order?
Oh, man. So it depends on if I'm going for just regular order or splurge order.
Okay,
so,
give us both.
Okay, so I'll just usually go to Starbucks and get a blonde roast.
Nice.
With half and half in Splenda.
Yeah.
But if I'm splurging, it'll be an iced coconut milk mocha macchiato.
Oh, good Lord. That sounds good.
Yes, it's a mouthful.
Wow.
But it's delicious.
I need to try that.
Yeah.
There was a caramel iced mocha something that came out that I really, really love. That was like my splurge drink as well too. I've kind of enjoyed the chai lattes lately, maybe because it's like soothing on my voice or something like that, but I usually get like an Americano and a little dry cinnamon on it. Is usually kind of my deal. Well, folks, that this time goes really, really fast. All of these podcasts just seem like the half an hour just flies by. But I knew it would, because great conversation like this, it always does seem to fly by. It's been a joy to have Lauren with us on our podcast for Beyond Sunday. You can find us each week. We will drop a new episode with a new guest each week. You can find us on our YouTube channel at Kindred Church, Anaheim Hills. You can search for that, or you can find this podcast on any podcasting app. I'm your host, Tom Grossi. Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond Sunday, and thank you, Lauren, for being with us. And God bless you, and we hope to see you next week.
Thanks for joining this episode of Beyond Sunday, brought to you by Kindred Church. For updates and new episodes, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Kindred Church Anaheim Hills, or join us on Facebook or on our website at www.kindredchurch.org.